lit candle with the tender cleric brave met Elric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Elrac's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Through dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arlie told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Elric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arlie's charm and Elric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arlie glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Learning came to close, a friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers now kin, united by knowledge their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the wings take a clip. For Thaddeus Turnpike commands his ship. For good of the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. He-ho, Thaddeus sailed the endless sea, with little Bubo as wise as can be. Through tempest and tide, they roam far and wide, the Turnpike legacy their unfading pride. From the mighty Turnpike line he hails, with the lineage of captains braving the gales. A scion of seafarers fierce and grand, with the spell on his lips and the sword in his hand. Behold Thaddeus, master of the spell, with little Bubo through heaven and hell. They dance with the stars, they flirt with the dew, their laughter echoes in the ocean's blue. An owl for his mate, little Bubo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Bubo, his talents wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Bubo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the salt-laden air, the Turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The sea's in their blood, magic in their heart. tale of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map hangs, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart.
In Solania's fields a halfling stood tall, sea grey eyes a fighter's call. With Fiona's love and Angus' smile, his world was bright for a little while. Oh, herald grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. From Zakar streets to golden fields, their family loved the greatest shield. They dreamed of wonders near and far, and on a list beneath the stars. Oh, herald grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. Young Angus fell on distant shore, while Fiona's kiss would come no more. A drunken noble, a vengeful blade, left Harold's world in darkness laid. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor vows that he had sworn. The list unfolds a final wish. A blade resisted a gutted fish. Now Harold roams through joy and strife, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. With bowler hat and iron will, he faces each task with hard-won skill. For every deed he sees it through, he feels their love forever true. And when the final task is done, when every battle's lost and won, he'll close his eyes, his duty clear, knowing his loved ones drawing near. In afterlife they'll meet again, their love eternal, free from pain. The list complete, their dreams fulfilled, a promise kept, a future will. Oh Harold Gray, your journey's long, but in your heart they're never gone. With every dream that you fulfill, Fiona and Angus are with you still. Task is done, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, the solemn pledge he vowed to keep. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor
Arley Candlewick, the Kender cleric, brave met Elric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arley and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arley's eyes danced through time's threads, while Elrac's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arley and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Through dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arley told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Elric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arley's charm and Elric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arley glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arley and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. After a year of learning came to friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers now kin, united by knowledge their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the winds take a clip. For Thaddeus turned, I command his ship. For good of the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. Heave ho, Thaddeus, sail the endless sea, with little Boobo as wise as can be.
Audio. I got microphone. I got Legion. Hello and welcome back. My name is Coy. I'm the guy who's talking to you right now. I'm going to be running this session. This is You Are Legion. We Are Legion. The D&D game where you, the audience, where's my camera? Camera one, can join in and be a part of the story as the voices inside the head of one of our party members. Because in this game, thou art Legion. My name is Coy. I'm going to be joining as Game Master today, and I have a bunch of friends with me. Let's go around the circle as we talk about, introduce our lovely friends. We have, covering for Alberto Johnson, who covers for Claire Hogan. We have Claire Hogan as the Kender Cleric of Knowledge, Arlie Candlewick III. Michael Keane is just behind an orange screen for the moment, playing as the halfling with the list Harold Gray, and Sean Boyd playing as the last blue dragonborn Aelric Tiamatikaus. We are still short a Thaddeus, a Samius, who is in the land of the rising sun, I believe. So our heart goes out to him, and your heart will go on. Keen, were you trying to throw in a little sneaky, snide comment there?
No, I thought I was unmiked.
Oh, no, we got you. We got you. This week, we welcome back for the last session of his little guest run, Eric Fournier. Thank you so much for joining us, Eric. All right. Actually, I want to just mention it now. We'll say it again at the end of our session. Hell yeah, that's it. I just wanted to mention, because we are introducing Eric, I wanted to just shout out that there's going to be a little bit of a change in our scheduling next month. Our regular Mondays are going to be going on a little bit of a Spooktober vacation. So the Mondays will be replays of other sessions. But the great news is that on Wednesdays, Eric is going to be DMing a small campaign set in our same universe of Legion, just a few hundred years earlier at the dawn of the Great Celestial War. So that's going to be a really exciting little campaign that'll be running throughout October, and he might continue running little campaigns and war missions and stories throughout the next few months, hopefully. We'll be playing replays of those on our Monday nights, if not special stuff, but we won't be playing our normal campaign. So this is going to be the last night of our campaign until we come back on November. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. And we'll also talk about it a little bit later at the end. I just, I'll ask you about it, Eric, at the end of our session. Oh, okay. Keen went from an orange screen to an orange shirt. I love what's going on here. And we're a day away from the orange month. But that orange is not about October, right? That is a Truth and Reconciliation orange, I believe. Boom. Boom. Look it up. Google it if you're not in Canada. And if you are in Canada, I need an orange shirt. Okay, previously on You Are Legion. Arlie, Aelric, and Legion in the aspect of the Death Shepherd god Inpu explored the facility while Thad and Harold worked on solving the arcane breach. Bottle episode! Through their investigations, they discovered... This is where I go, ... Tell me what you discovered, team.
So we discovered... Am I on? Okay, great. Mm-hmm. So we discovered that the darkness that we see in the horizon is so powerful that it may indeed be the home of the long-sought forge, and has really funneled our goals back into that singular kind of like directionality. I mean, we went through a lot of. I mean, we also found out a lot about gnomes' storage of journals and their proclivity for writing long drawn out treatises about how to keep their maintenance records and
Hell
what's
yeah.
in those maintenance records. So we learned a lot about that. So from a purely historic point of view, it was also a win. But for a present and future point of view, it was a big win because now, off in the distance, thank you, Koi, for buttressing my dialogue with this graphic. We have not just some sort of metaphoric goal, but we have a quite literal goal that we can see and drive towards.
Hell yeah. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Eric or Claire, did you want to add anything to that?
I'm sorry, I forgot one
Oh,
thing. Impu is clumsy on stairs and falls. That's the only other thing.
That's a good point. Yeah, Infu did.
I had to put that on there.
It's not
As-
his fault that he's not used to the fact that he now weighs like 4 times more than he used to, being a giant metal construct.
Yeah, by canon, Legion is 2 meters tall, weighs 200 kilograms. That's it.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah, heavy boy, big boy.
We also discovered shoot. Oh, my memory. Help me. Death, and once we got to the top of the tower, Arlie cast augury, and we got to about the question about heading to Forge, and that's what I can remember.
Yeah.
And it was great. We used
You were able. You got a
portent
wheel
dice.
and a woe, and you used a portent dice to decipher one of the words. The word was there was a word. The woe. You deciphered the word woe, which was an like kind of like early written language for death as a proper location.
That's right.
Yeah, and
I think you
and
described it as like a personification and a location, or I don't know. You gave
like
a
we
really nice
use
metaphor.
yeah, like we use nouns for person, place, or thing, and this is like the noun death as a place. So like in this old language, there were different tenses that would distinguish whether a word was a person, place, or thing.
And finally, before we leap into the present action, we found out that Koi can do a pretty fair Keen impression.
It's a Herald impression. It's not a Keen impression. It's a Herald impression, and I like to think that it's all right. I like to think it's okay.
on
well,
the, if
yeah.
I may, on the
Yeah.
Impu side, Impu gave a little bit of backstory about where these mysterious mechanical warforges, mechanical constructs come from. These soldiers, where they're from, where they originate from, and how he was one of the primary creators of them.
Why don't
but
you just
that's-
give that to us again? Because
Yeah.
for the audience and for the players,
Right, so-
because that was such an it was bottle exposition episode is I think the name of last episode.
So after cooling his jets, Impu, through clarity, felt that it was important to pass along the information that before he was lost his memory and then suddenly woke up within the construct of Legion, he helped create the mechanical soldier constructs that are downstairs, outside of the bubble with, and I forget the soldier's name, but the person whom everyone has met before.
Becklin.
Becklin, thank you. And so Anubis, initially Anubis helped to create these constructs in order to help bolster the army military forces of the people because they were essentially they're essentially fighting a losing battle, mostly because of numbers. And he taught the humans a way to allow the soul to keep fighting as long as the soul wanted to keep fighting. That was the agreement, was that as long as the soldier wished to keep fighting, their soul would then be placed into a gem, and then that gem would be placed into a warforge, and then the warforge could then be their new body, and they could continue fighting. But the mortals, the mortals, as Impu puts them, are tricksy, and they changed the contract. They changed the agreement that all Solaris Knights pledge when they enter into their service, where they no longer have a choice. Once they die, their soul gets put into one of these gems, similar to the gems that trap all the gods and keep all the gods intact in Legion, and they are essentially forever slaves. Forever, every time they die as a warforge, return back, placed into another gem, and thrown back into a warforge and thrown back out. And when Anubis got word of this, he voiced his extreme displeasure, but didn't do anything about it. The mortals were very wise and made a really good point. And he was like, "Fine, I don't like it, but I'll let it slide for now." So that's of that. He is what he shared last week.
Awesome. So he took ownership or responsibility for providing some of the magical knowledge to create these constructs that are powered by the contained souls of mortals who have died, and then said that magic had been perverted somehow by the mortals. He confronted the mortals. They convinced him not to do anything, and then he has further regret that he has not yet kind of expressed, I guess, is what he has revealed. Amazing. So a lot happened. A lot of exposition got dumped. There was a lot of bottling going on, a lot of falling down the stairs, a lot of like engineer's log, stardate 2037 Mark 5.2 going on. Meanwhile, at the heart of the proto-explosion of arcane energy trapped in stasis, Thaddeus and Harold are conducting an ad hoc operation on the gnomish arcane reactor. Harold, this is going to be mostly run by you. I'm going to be stepping in if you want to communicate with Thad or anything. I'll do my best Thad impersonation. Not as good as a Harold impersonation. Let me just say that out loud right now. Harold, you will be rolling for both you and Thad. So you'll be rolling with Thad's bonuses. This is Arcane Skill Challenge DC 17. Before every roll, I'm going to ask you to declare your attempted outcome from a list I will read in a moment. You can end this challenge at any time. 3 failures will force the challenge to end. Now, the available actions.
What are the available actions?
You can attempt to safely vent the Radical Arcana. You can free Rosemary Leaf. You can prevent the Resonance Cascade. You can route power. This can only be done once the Resonance Cascade has been prevented. There are 4 places you can route power. You can route power to more than one place. Those locations are, these are titles that you find in the space. The 4 titles are Gates.
Are you taking notes?
I put it in the chat. Gates, Forge, Crucible, or Fortress Isle. So once again, you can safely vent the Radical Arcana. You can free the construct, Rosemary Leaf. You can prevent the Resonance Cascade. You can route power to gates and or Forge and or Crucible and or Fortress Isle.
It says if I don't safely vent Radical Arcana, I take 12d6 force and I'm blinded.
Yeah. That's going to be for anyone who isn't... That's going to be for anyone who isn't protected. So you all have Thad's magical protection that is allowing you to like be in this space. The Radical Arcana is the stuff you're walking through that's held in suspension right now. So it's just like this kind of explosion that's held in stasis. It's already free of any constraints. So
what I'm asking you is, does that effect take place every turn?
No.
How often does that effect take place?
That is a single event.
If no 12d6 force blinded.
It's a single event.
Okay. Do I know when it's coming?
It happens on a failure.
Okay.
So, or sorry, it happens on... This all happens at the end of the skill challenge. So the skill challenge is happening. At the end of the skill challenge, the results happen.
Don't understand.
Okay. You have a series of options. You can, every time you roll, you can try to do one of these things.
I can safely vent the Radical Arcana. I can free Rosemary Leaf. Vent the Resonance Cascade. I don't know what any of these do, though. Rosemary Leaf.
So, safely venting the Radical Arcana is the stuff you're walking through. So the explosion has a source, which is like the reactor. There's already energy that has escaped the reactor and that is in the facility. That stuff, once the stasis spell ends, that stuff will continue in its explosive direction. You can safely vent that so that it doesn't do damage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. That's the first thing.
Okay, but what am I doing? Do I need to do each one of these actions in sequence?
You can do them in any order. Each one of them takes... So I said at the beginning, this is an Arcana skill challenge. So it's rolling Arcana DC 17.
Okay.
Each time before you roll, you declare which one of these you want to try to do. And 17 or higher is a success. 16 or lower is a failure. 3 failures force an end to the challenge.
Okay.
You can end whenever you want, though. The Resonance Cascade is the full-on explosion. So that's like the critical, like that's the core going critical.
Okay. Okay. Harold doesn't really have much in the way of arcane.
So you're going to be rolling with Thad's dice, which is a +8 to arcane.
Okay. Cool. So... Okay, so we do this?
Hell yeah. This is what you guys have been doing while the last episode was happening.
So the area that we're in, there's this kind of thing, right? I assume there are rails to prevent people from falling off.
Yeah, gnomish height rails. Yeah, so they're like good for you.
Gnomish rails. So Harold is sitting on, you know, when you sit on a railing,
Yeah.
and your knees are kind of up.
Yeah.
Balanced there, and he's just smoking watching this happen.
Amazing.
Is in no way involved. Meanwhile, Thaddeus is having like full on like pretty deep in crisis. First thing that Thaddeus is going to do is he's going to try to get some help. He's going to try to free Rosemary.
Cool.
So that's a pass.
Yeah, 16 plus 8.
Plus 8. It's effectively
Amazing.
DC 9.
Effectively, okay,
without a-
DC 9. Cool. Because you're just rolling flat. So DC 9, that helps. Cool. So the first thing he does is to try to free Rosemary Leaf, succeeds at that. So you watch. Do you want to describe what it looks like as as you watch Thaddeus do this?
At the thing and like plugging shit in and Harold's sitting there like kind of just finished one. He has a fresh one rolled up and he's lighting it off the tip. Doing a great job. And Thaddeus sort of wheels around and bumps into Rosemary really hard with his full body weight. And something about the physical force that he came into Rosemary frees her from the stasis and brings her into our time.
Amazing. If you've ever seen one of those Boston Dynamic robots get kicked and they kind of like stumble and then like collect themselves, it's like that. But if it was like 300 kilograms, you see this massive construct that was tied in, just kind of take a sidestep, collect itself, turn to look at Thad like an angry dog.
And in the time in which falling, Thad has that moment like when you drop something really expensive and time feels like it's slowing down. And he can't do anything about it. He's reaching and he's reaching. And he collects herself and looks at Thad and looks at Harold. And Rosemary says, "You must prevent the resonance cascade and route power to gates." And Thad kind of goes, "Okay." They begin working together. So I'll route power
Awesome.
gates.
Route power to the gates. You're going to do that first?
Yeah.
Cool. Now that you have freed Rosemary Leaf, you're going to roll with advantage.
I got a 19.
Hell yeah. With a 19, there's like these like huge kind of ka-chunks of physical conduits shifting and then filling with power. And as they fill with power, there's like the off light as conduits that were just dark in the wall start to glow with purpley arcane energy, and also the kind of shunk as power is filled into these new conduits that were once empty. And you can read on a readout screen, Harold, that is at perfect height for you because you are at gnomish height. You see the gates like turn green. Power routed.
Harold goes, "You're doing great." Going to roll to vent resonance cascade.
Cool. As you say, doing great, Rosemary Leaf is like, "Yes, we are doing adequately."
14, so it's a...
Incredible. Yeah, 28. So the resonance cascade. Harold has to get himself like fully down into the space where this breach is occurring, and Rosemary is able to help to like spot weld a new piece of metal just that they scavenge right off of the wall of another pipe. Do a quick fix, able to seal this breach and prevent resonance cascade. Some of the alarms that have that have come to life start to like flick off, and like the kind of that redlining indicator of resonance cascade breach imminent goes off.
Harold emerges from the little hidey hole where he had to do some welding, pulls off the little glasses that Rosemary gave him, and his whole face is just like soot gag. Like his
I love
hair,
it. He's totally back, still with the cigarette in his mouth.
He's still basically just wearing a nightgown over armor. Looks
right.
like a maniac right now.
Absolute maniac.
Okay.
So you have freed Rosemary Leaf, you have prevented the resonance cascade, and you have routed power to the gates.
Does he in
we'll
fact
see.
look like 20 years younger though, since all that has just like
I was just gonna
dyed
say,
hair? It's like
Yeah.
he comes out
All the
like
salt
all
and
of his hair
pepper is
is,
now
like,
dark.
back is jet black with soot. He looks like somehow like 25 years younger and just like ready for action.
Awesome. I love it. And just the two little circles that aren't from the goggles. What's next?
Well, Harold is patting himself down, trying to look for where he left his rollies. Thad and Rosemary are going to roll to safely vent the radical arcana, barely passing.
Amazing. This is a tough one because this involves dropping the stasis spell. And so the timing gets a little hairy, but the industrial, like, arcane vent system is able to be activated. Thad has to, like, actually manually open one of the vents that is kind of stuck because it's just so old and gotten rusted shut. And as these massive kind of intakes, like, these fans start whirring up as the spell drops, and there's kind of like a wisp of all of this energy going one direction and then getting sucked back and up, going, and all of a sudden you're now standing in just a clean, empty space without any of that arcane kind of tendril explosion stuff around. You have now vented the arcane arcana safely. You've prevented the resonance cascade of the arcane reactor. And you have a few other options that you can do if you want. But at this point, you have safely, like, solved the main problem.
Having averted the immediate crisis, Rosemary and now route power to... Well, Harold actually takes a look at the little schematics and he goes, "Hey, what does this mean? Route power forge." Addressing Rosemary.
Let me to Rosemary. Rosemary takes a look at the schematics, says, "I believe my matrix has been harmed, unable to access records."
You access information about any of the others? The Crucible or the Fortress Isle?
Attempting. Crucible, negative. Fortress Isle, yes. Records indicate old civilization, inhabitant, shifted ownership, renamed Calaman.
And what would routing power to Fortress Isle, Calaman?
The Fortress Isle was a island stronghold that defended an inland sea. I believe powering it would bring back some of its defensive capabilities.
Wait, so it is Calaman or it's a resource of...
after the cataclysm, there was a great change in water level. No longer a isle, Calaman became a city on the coast.
Right, fuck it. Rolling to restore power to Fortress Isle.
Oh yeah. Boom.
At 20.
Nat 20. It's starting to get easy. Get our bridge positions. Now you're at all different spaces. Just communication's great. Do this. Okay, hit this. What we're looking at that. Green light.
I'm gonna have to start calling Harold Scotty.
Yeah. I don't got more power, Captain. Are you gonna keep going?
I thought I was waiting for you to be finished.
Sorry, yeah. Green light.
Yeah. What's the Crucible?
Records inaccessible, possibly corrupted. Require time to examine. I'll let you.
Gonna roll.
Thad's gonna roll like a history check, or yeah.
24.
24. 24. The place where you were attacked by the Death Dragon, by that Shadow Dragon, that created the Soul Gem. That is that was named the Arcane Crucible. And remember, it took a lot of power for you to you all had to dump spell slots into it to turn it on, because it was deactivated.
Okay. There's still elves there?
You left with the elves. Actually, the enemy airship is in that location right now.
Okay. And finally then forges. What can Thad roll to figure out if the forge on this thing is...
I missed the end of that. Is what?
What can Thad do to figure out if the forge listed on this list is a forge?
You could give me investigation check. You or him. I'll tell you what his is.
It is +8.
Investigation +8. Yeah.
13.
13?
Yeah.
You can't say with certainty, but it is like if you know anything about electronics, it is a high amp circuit.
I think this requires a bit of oversight.
Is this when you make your faithful call?
Yeah.
Awesome. So this is when it is now then that Harold made the call where he's like, hey, Arlie, now might be a good time to come down and see what's going on. Because either things are going to be great or they're going to blow up and we'll need to escape at the same time. So we returned to Arlie and Aelric and Inpu walking into that elevator that you had activated. The doors close and it drops like a stone. You all feel your feet just slowly lifting off as it falls, and then it starts slowing down. You know it's slowing down because it touches your feet, and then all of a sudden you feel the weight, and then more weight, and then more weight. I'm going to ask for a Constitution saving throw from everyone in the elevator here. It's going to be a DC 10. Inpu, holding strong. The one good thing about this metal body is it doesn't really move when it doesn't want to. It can be a problem sometimes, but it's also just like its neutral state is very strong. So it's more, I don't even know if you have sensors to feel effort. I'm not sure. It's more just like you're standing there. Juniper, with a 10, you are able to maintain a standing position. It gets really heavy. Not only is it heavy, but you're wearing your armor, like your plate mail, your plate armor. So just the straps start digging into your shoulders. Everything is just pulling down as you're slowing down this massive fall. And I'm going to roll for Aelric just because he's has to jump into a little... he had to jump into a little call. Aelric also succeeds with a 12. Amazing. So you all are standing when the doors open up. Ting! And you open up into a clear hallway. The last you were around this region, there was still the kind of sparkling lightning that was stuck in place from that stasis spell. Now the hallway is entirely clear and empty. So it looks like there's been some progress. As you make your way down the hall and you find your way back into the heart of this reactor, you see Thad and the construct, Rosemary Leaf, working behind some panels. And Harold is... Harold, where are you?
Harold's back on his spot to avoid as much gnome shit as he possibly can.
Awesome. You see Thad and Rosemary Leaf very active in trying to just double check safety protocols, making sure that everything's operating within safety, within nominal conditions. And Harold is sitting with his knees up on the small gnome height safety rail on one of these catwalks.
Hi.
Your message.
Yeah, so I mean, look, like it is gnome shit, but seems to be going well. We unfluxed the casters and diverted the ions to the deflector arrays, which I'm told is a very efficient way of going about this. And at my suggestion, we were also able to reroute power through several. Anyways, this is Rosemary. Rosemary, say hi.
Hi.
Right.
Alright.
Oh, I'm sorry you got it working. Oh my gosh. Inpu, how do you feel?
I am confused. What manner?
Boring. Oh, sorry.
What? This Rosemary, what manner of machine are you?
She's your backup. Wasn't it you that explained that to me?
Was it? I don't remember this part.
I
I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
Remember
you guys accessed one of the journals of one of the gnomes who mentioned Rosemary Leaf arriving at the facility, and with the aid of Arlie's incredible history knowledge, you were able to kind of connect the dots.
Yes,
So the only
right.
person who hasn't officially connected the dots would be Harold, because Thad hasn't told him yet, and he wasn't with you guys when you all talked it out.
Right. Yes. Correct. I remember this
Basically
now.
your sister. Or I don't know. Or body double should this one fail. I don't know. Choose a metaphor you prefer.
Well, to be clear, young cleric one, I am Inpu within this.
Right, of course.
My-
My apologies.
My brothers and sisters are somewhere in here with me.
Okay, yes. Sometimes I forget how it all works. So, Rosemary.
Rosemary comes clumping down the stairs. So let me just remind everyone. I'm going to pop up here just to show Rosemary's image, also for our viewers. The Rosemary contract is a massive form. It dwarfs Aelric, who is our largest silhouette in the party. Very, very large, warforged, still humanoid, with a singular eye spot, ocular spot. Rosemary comes clumping down the catwalk, ka-chung, 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 and gets very close to Inpu. And there's like one of those little like scanning lines that kind of as it looks down and then back up. Legion construct, mostly intact. What incredible luck.
Great. You're off the hook for a job for now. Unless we break this one, which actually is possibly what we're planning on doing. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Legion, Rosemary just looks down, looks down, its backwards knees folding as the whole body just comes down, still far too high. This is its attempt at kneeling down, the way that Aelric does to speak with you, Arlie. Says, I would suggest against trying to break me.
Oh no, don't worry. I don't think that the Forge could unmake you. I'm sure you have some sort of special defense against that.
So anyways, here's the sitch, guys.
Right.
Now, as I was saying, did a lot of gnome shit. Interesting. It appears that this facility here has other locations. One is referred to diagrams as the Fortress Isle, and turns out to be Calaman. So I turned that on. No idea what that's gonna do ground, but I just kind of thought, fuck it, right? Like, they can use the help. Another is gates. The gates were open. More. One is the Crucible. Maybe the Forge. The Crucible is currently held by, and I think it silly to power it while they are there. I don't want them to be able to use it. Anything. As for the Forge, I mean, you need to turn it on eventually, but you turn it on while it's not controlled to risk allowing the enemy to release. I don't know. So smarter brains than mine need to make this decision. Hopefully I haven't just leveled all of Calaman.
Thaddeus is like deep in a console, and he kind of hears you saying something. He's like, yeah, what he said, really important. If you just give me a second, guys, I think I found something. And he's just really distracted on the computer. Inpu.
So do you think? Oh, here we go.
That's okay. Sorry. I was just thinking that as Harold was mentioning the names of these cities and going like, this one used to be called this, and this one used to be called this, and I mean, Inpu has no idea where he is. When he woke up, he's in the middle of a desert which he doesn't recognize because the world is just completely different than what he remembers it. But now that he's been given some landmarks, would he be able to have a better understanding of where he is or where he is in the world, and perhaps be able to assist Thad or be able to assist anyone in trying to figure out what this other forge place could be?
Yeah. You want to find so like where you are now, or where?
Yeah, like in order to assist, because Harold is asking, or Harold has mentioned that there are two other places that that this reactor potentially powers. One of which is called Forge, which he's not sure, but he's proposing that perhaps it is the Forge, but he doesn't know. And so, what I'm asking is if I may assist, if that is in the process of like tippity typing, trying to figure out like a history and like a cartography thing, can I help boost those rolls so that we can get a better understanding? Because
You already failed those rolls. Going in.
Gotcha. Then does Inpu have a better remembering of like geography wise where they are now and where these different cities could be? Because as you pointed out, like one of the cities is now called Calamity, I believe you said it was called.
Calaman.
Right? Like
Calaman.
Calaman. So these places have changed names, but they're what it feels like is their original names when this power center was created is still in the computers.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you can give me if you want to give me an investigation check in the database, I will say that starting with the name of the original name of the reactor itself at a DC 5, and then at a DC 10, the city within what it is, the name of the city inside, and then DC 15, DC 20, every 5 beyond that, you can ask for the name of one location in the region.
Trying to think, do I have any character bonuses that might help?
If anyone has, what do you call it? What do you call it? The good
Inspiration,
with. What is the word? Proficient. If anyone is proficient in investigation, they can give you advantage on this check.
Anyone? Bueller. All right, cool. No worries.
Unfortunately, neither Aelric nor Arlie.
No, I'm the worst to ask about that. In fact.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I was just trying to remember, like, on my character sheet, did I have any?
Yeah. Oh.
Or any abilities that allowed me to be able to like boost my rolls, but I don't think I do. Not that I remember.
Like guidance.
But I don't know if it. I think it's a low one.
There's also guidance. If you have the cantrip guidance, that gives a D4. Actually, Thad can throw you that. I think Thad has it. He throws it around like crazy. So you can take guidance from. Okay. So you can. So that means you can toss. You can toss 1d4. You can add d4 to your result.
Cool. Do I add that into the situational bonus section?
Yeah, or just roll a d4 afterwards.
Oh, fair enough. Let's just roll. Let's see what that does it.
Yeah, I think that did it. Boom. 19. Okay, so the 19, you find out that the name of this reactor is called the Aetherflux Dynamo. Now I'll type that in. That is AETHER, the Aetherflux Dynamo. It is in the city of Cogshaven.
I love gnomish shit names.
Right, gnomish shit. You get one more location that you can ask for the confirmation to learn about through your investigation.
I mean, the mention of Forge and how everyone seems to be really important, and also Impu is really wants to know where the Forge is because that's one of his main goals at the moment. So I would like to know about Forge. I'd like to know if Forge is indeed what everyone is looking for.
Amazing. You are able to confirm with a 19 that this Forge is a proper noun Forge. the Aetherflux Dynamo is a massive power source that was able to transmit power to across the entire Gnomish lands, which is now the Northern Wastelands. The capital F forge that is you can route power to, that is the same arcane forge that you are looking for. But it is not just like a facility, it is like a single like factory. It's like a massive space. So by sending power, you'd be powering like the entire facility complex.
I relay this information with adding just a hint of warning about, that you'd be turning on the entire city, and since the entire city is in that darkness, Impu does not know what that darkness is and does not feel right about it, and so, probably best to confirm. His opinion is probably best to confirm that it is safe to do so, and then, since you know where the reactor is, come back and flick the switch, so to speak.
Safe as opposed to what?
Claire also, I think, are.
I understand
also
common tongue, safe as opposed to unsafe, but you're being very vague. What is the danger?
It occurs to me that this darkness is very reminiscent of a place that I am aware of, which houses forces that rival the gods. If the souls are drawn to it, as I've witnessed, I question who is drawing them and how much power do they have in order to do so.
Okay. Arlie?
Oh, yeah. So I put my hand up because I didn't understand what Harold said. Like Arlie did, but Claire, I don't understand. I'm not following.
Yeah. Let's clarify. Where's the confusion? We're a few minutes away from it, so.
As my I'm aware that I don't understand. So my understanding is that the world brought electricity to the world of Kryn. So that's not
quite.
correct.
So this appears to be a magical power station. Several locations. One of them is the Crucible, where we fought the Black Dragon, and the other may be the Forge itself. Crucible is most certainly in the control of the enemy, and I don't want to offer them a powered tool. I would prefer it remain inert. The Forge, similarly, is right now surrounded by darkness. I fear that if we turn it on, for as much as handing victory to the enemy.
Right, so Claire still doesn't understand. Does the world have electricity?
No, it's like magic. It's like, this is like a huge magical, think of it like electricity, but it's like, this is a huge magical power station. It can power the Forge, it can power the Crucible, but both of those locations are being held by the enemy. So if we turn them on, we're turning them on for someone not us to be them. I think that might be a bad idea, but Hamilton's on that, but I think we're
So
Like-
is that so? So like Harold basically has discovered like Harold's been working out how this what it does, like where the electricity, the magic power goes, and it's
Yeah,
to
basically,
Harold's
yeah.
worked out it's
Yeah,
these
and it
places.
went to 3 places. It went to Calaman, and he turned that on, but
Mm-hmm.
it also goes to the Forge and to the Crucible. And the Forge and the
Okay.
Crucible are both held by baddies, so, like, worried that if we turn them on, like, they'll be able to use the Forge.
Right.
Probably, and that's what they need to do to release this, I'm fairly certain. They can't just
Okay.
smash you to gem. They need to
Mhm.
do something with it in the Forge. I don't know what.
Right, and have our characters effectively conveyed to Harold that from the top of the tower they were able to see in the distance this. I'll just do that in character then right now.
Hell
But,
yeah.
by the way, Harold, on the horizon there's this sort of like black hole looking kind of thumbtack of a blip in the horizon, and we reckon that that's the forge. And I cast augury, chatted with Zivelin, and looked in my book, and they all basically said yes. Go here, and then there was some cryptic stuff about death, or maybe undeath, or death as a place instead of a transition. So I think we know where it is, which is exciting. And we looked at the pieces on our map, and it all sort of seems to correlate. So good job not powering up the forge, because we want to get there first, I think. And
What?
then I think that we had wanted to, I mean, I'm still not entirely clear. I think for a while we had thought that maybe we should just destroy Legion, but now I think given that we have 2 of them, seems sort of redundant to destroy them. Also, it doesn't sort of seem like that would solve a god problem, or a lack of god problem, or our emerging god problem. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do once we get there, but I guess we can stop the other bad guys. Like an arms race. We have all the weapons.
Said that there was a darkness around the Forge. What do you mean by that?
I can't remember why that made sense, but it sort of is like the shadow that we just came out of, and it seems like these shadows that come from the Feywilds are specifically attracted to these places of power, which is why there was a shadow over this station. And if I've just gone and made that up, the DM can...
No, it's close. So the shadows. So the Feywild. The thing about the Fey realm is that it is like a realm of potential, whereas the Shadowfell is kind of an opposite realm. So the shadows that you were just in recently that were wiped away by the explosion of the artifact containing Helm's energy, that is like a dropping, a pooling of Shadowfell, or of shadow from the realm of shadows. In the way that the Feywild is the realm of the Fey, the Shadowfell is like the realm of shadow, and you were able to make an educated guess that where you saw on the horizon that you were able to triangulate with your map is both the location of the Arcane Forge that you're looking for, yes, and is also the location where the Shadowfell has begun to seep into your realm. Does that make sense?
Rosemary,
Yes.
off after we turn it on.
Power can be routed to or away from any of the working services. I do not believe. it is not very feasible to deactivate this facility.
Rosemary, on and no. In simple terms, we turn on the forge. Can we turn it off again?
You can send power to the forge, and then you can stop sending power to the forge. The power will continue.
Oh, these gnome words.
Let me attempting translation. Are you aware of water wheels?
Yes.
Water can be sent down a channel to activate the water wheel. Water can then be cut off from the water wheel. The river never stops.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
So is our ultimate goal to get the crystal back from the Takesis alkalites and reaffix it to our Legion? Is that our aim?
Rosemary spins on Legion and does another examination. Ah, yes. This alteration in the form is not intentional then. Representing of a deity. There's an imbalance. You have lost Takesis.
Put it all on Legion. It was sort of a collectively failed effort in which we lost Takesis.
Ah, a massive collective failure then.
Yes, that's what I like to call them. Share the burden. That way, no individual person is responsible. You can't get mad at anyone, really. Or if you want, you can get mad at Legion, I guess. Inpu probably handle it.
Harold, has anyone mentioned the dark? Has anyone mentioned the dark circle on the horizon to you?
Sir.
There is a large, dark, all-encompassing circle. Off into the distance, you can see it from the top of this tower. Inpu had a very strong reaction to it. And it was further explained that it is some sort of counterbalance to all the Feywild energy, and that it was so powerful that this circle might contain the thing that we have been looking for, this forge, this place. We can see it. It's on the map. Show him, Marley.
And I bust out our magnetic
Amazing.
chessboards of Kryn.
Yeah, here you go. The this is your map. I just want to as you look, Arlie, on your chessboard of Kryn, you see all the tokens for the teleportation gates light up.
Oh, that makes sense. I turned on gate.
Oh! In my favorite books, that's called fast traveling. Many children's legends include characters that can fast travel.
Ah, yes, the ancient fast travel. Ability of the gods. So here's the map. Are you looking for anything on the map?
I'm trying to. Aelric just takes a big meaty blue finger and points right at where it says dark place. There. There is the goal. I don't have the words, Harold. You'll have to ask Inpu or Arlie. But my feeling is, irrespective of what we do here with this switch, we need to go there.
Is the party on the board right now?
The party is the little blue Legion token, which is over on the, there you go, eastern side. This is a symbol that is these are all little chess pieces that like change when they appear. This is a little draconic, a little mounted draconic steed. I'm just zoom in for our audience. So there's the party. There's the dark place. This is the ethereal dread, your big ship. This is the elven ship over here. This is the enemy airship. This is a draconic wing, mounted draconic squadron. These are those portal gates that have been activated now. I feel like everyone needs a little moment to process, so I'm going to actually say we're at 9 o'clock. Let's come back at 10 past.
I was gonna do something. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not blocked right now.
Hmm?
Let me just do 4
Hell
minute
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, give it to me.
Library.
Yeah.
Harold again looking completely pacing around. Things. Solve for one thing at a time. Okay. So look, here's what I think. Open question. Just lock the gods up or release them all. I don't know. We need to talk about that. We've been dancing around since we started this quest. We need to come to some kind of an agreement. What we're going to do an input. I'm sorry to be referring people in such an instrumental way, but the worst case scenario is the release of Texas and none of the other gods. It has to be avoided. But we can't make that decision right now. What we can do is assume that the enemy holds the forge, but that the enemy can't use the forge to release the key yet because it's not on. So, if that is true, my little gnome, my little hobbit, halfling copyright gut telling me it is, because if the Keeses were free, then yes, badness. And we need to protect this place. The enemy will figure out that to turn on the forge, they need to hold this place. We must go back to the ethereal dread, and we must reinforce this position with all available forces. This is base camp. We lose this, we lose the war. And there's Calaman to consider. Someone needs to go and sign the... Or this Oh, nightly orders are gonna keep dogging us at every opportunity. So, all for one thing at a time. Someone needs to go to the ethereal dread and bring reinforcement. Someone needs to get knights off our back. What do you think?
Koi, as a reminder, the little tick boxes that we have, they cannot or can communicate with the ethereal dread. I know we were talking about it when we got encountered by the knights, but we never tried anything with them. I couldn't remember the decision on those. In range, out of range.
I think if you're still carrying the backpack, that is able to communicate.
That might have been destroyed.
That probably was
It
destroyed in
could
the
be-
explosion.
It absolutely was destroyed before we went into the Feywilds, I believe.
Yeah. You did get it. It got fixed at a certain point, but I think it's been destroyed. At the moment, the only communicators you have are like interpersonal communicators that you can talk to each other when you're in different rooms of the same hex in the travel map, just to allow you to communicate when you're like not exactly in the same space. But short range. You do have spells and such. As Harold's finishing this, there's a clunk, 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 and 5 heavy boots come down the entranceway, and you see the squadron led by Becklin and her strike team Omega Squadron and her 4 Legionnaire constructs behind her. They've all seen the space that they were sitting outside. They weren't immune to this energy. It is now dissipated safely, and they're following into the heart of the reactor. And they come into the reactor. She takes a look around, says, "Oh, geez, there's more of them. Well, Thad, now's your time." Thad's like looking at the computer, says, "Yeah, I just if I could just get one. Okay, great." And Becklin walks over to Thad, grabs him, takes a little thing off of her armor, attaches it to his lapel, turns to her other legionnaires. She says, "Sounds like Master Gray here believes this place is of strategic importance. Let's defend it, shall we? We'll be back as soon as we can." And then there's a shimmering as the material plane ripples, and her and Thad disappear out of existence, leaving all of you standing in the now stable reactor core.
As a knife moves through space and space that her head was just occupying.
Do you actually want to do that?
Pardon?
Do you want to do that?
Fucked in my friend.
We've already had that once.
So you did make an agreement that as soon as you finished this, that would go.
Didn't make an agreement that she would just kidnap. Okay, fine. Never mind.
I mean, there's two, like, we can yada yada through this. Basically, my idea is I'm a little metagaming to get Thad out of the room. There was an agreement before.
I was letting you yada yada through it and still playing Harold's hostility what had occurred.
Okay.
I was accepting the yada yada.
Okay.
Standing it.
Okay.
Harold responds, attack, but it's too late. They shimmer, they're gone.
Okay.
But don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm going to say that you can display your anger without actively attacking the leader of the 4 constructs that are still standing around you, unless you're wanting
They're
to.
still here. I thought they all disappeared.
She disappears, leaving them, because as she's leaving, she's like, "The halfling says that this place is important. Let's defend it. I'll be back." And she phases out. No, she phases out with Thad to sign some paperwork. Her spell wasn't able to be cast when the explosion was in the region. She'll be back shortly once the paperwork is signed. She just needed him in person. I will say that before we end for break, Arlie, you have the capacity, if you wanted to join Thad in that contract, because earlier you had said that you might want to.
Remember, I said earlier, does that mean leaving the game? Like having early leave?
It would be like no, it would be like a side action where you're doing some legalese paperwork, and you can do some roles and stuff to represent Thad.
To represent the electricity returning to Calaman.
No. Thad took over Calaman. Becklin is here to be like, Thad, you can't own Calaman and have our country protect it.
Oh, I remember this.
Right, that whole thing.
Claire.
But she needed to teleport. She needed to teleport Thad back to the capital because they're under a war footing and they cannot do anything legal through correspondence because of the chance of misinformation.
I will give you my list of 10 do's and don'ts for bureaucratic contract signing. They mostly just say, don't sign anything. But the next 70 pages of my 10 do's and don'ts are about when you can.
So do you so you could go with that, or you could give him a collection of notes that you've just written in the last few minutes. I mean, that looks like it's really important that I stick around, but here are some notes. Just make sure you follow these instructions, and just give him a stack of 70 pages.
Do read everything. Don't blind sign.
Yeah. Written very small, double-sided. I don't know how Arlie had the chance to. Well, Arlie has Mage Hand that could probably actually write it for her as she's talking, and transcribe.
It's an extension of time jumping. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, as Thad's about to leave, you hand him a big stack of paper, just
this will guide you.
Yeah. Here you go.
Or be fantastic toilet paper.
He's like, I don't read Kendra that well. Disappears. Cool. Yeah, so we're gonna take a break. It's 9:06. So I'm gonna say let's come back the party at in 10 minutes, but I want to get back on the stream by 9:20. So we have 15-minute break. Cool. And I will fade us out.
Arlie Candlewick, the Kender cleric, brave, met Ilric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Ilric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Ilrac's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Ilric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Through dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arlie told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Ilric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arlie's charm and Ilric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The Dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arlie glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Came to close, a friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers now kin, united by knowledge their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the winds take a clip. For Thaddeus Turnpike commands his ship. For good of the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. Behold, Thaddeus sailed the endless sea, with little Bubo as wise as can be. Through tempest and tide, they roam far and wide, the Turnpike legacy their unfading pride. From the mighty Turnpike line he hails, with the lineage of captains braving the gales. A scion of seafarers fierce and grand, with the smell on his lips and the sword in his hand. Behold Thaddeus, master of the smell, with little Bubo through heaven and hell. They dance with the stars, they flirt with the dew, their laughter echoes in the ocean's blue. Now for his mate, little Bubo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Bubo, his talents wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Bubo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the salt-laden air, the Turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart. So sing of that Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart.
From Shanghai came Elric
legends in his wake. It is where enemies crumble when their bravery breaks. Resting for glory through lands afar, guided by the storm, following fate's star. Shamed by fate, forged on wrath, Takhisis can't stand in his path. A hero born of conflict and pain. Destiny carved in torrents of rain. Lightning in his veins, vengeance in his stare. Shatter the heavens, the dragon knells beware. Alaric the Dragonborn, mighty hero, one and all, wielding lightning breath, answering the call. Alaric the Dragonborn, with courage in his veins, victory, his story's tone echo through the flames.
In Solania's fields, a halfling stood tall. Sea gray eyes, a fighter's call. With Fiona's love and Angus' smile, his world was bright for a little while. Oh, herald grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. From Zakar streets to golden fields, their family loved the greatest shield. They dreamed of wonders near and far, penned on a list beneath the stars. Oh, herald grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. Young Angus fell on distant shore, while Fiona's kiss would come no more. A drunken noble, a vengeful blade, left Harold's world in darkness laid. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor vows that he had sworn. The list unfolds a final wish, a blade resisted a gutted fish. Now Harold roams through joy and strife, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. With boulder hat and iron will, he faces each task with hard-won skill. For every deed he sees it through, he feels their love forever true. And when the final task is done, when every battle's lost and won, he'll close his eyes, his duty clear, knowing his loved ones drawing near. In afterlife they'll meet again, their love eternal, free from pain. The list complete, their dreams fulfilled, a promise kept, a future will. Oh, Harold Grey, your journey's long, but in your heart they're never gone. With every dream that you fulfill, Fiona and Angus are with you still. done to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. But from his grief a purpose born to honor.
Arlie Candlewick, the tender cleric, brave met Ilric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Ilric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Ilrac's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent.
Truth and Reconciliation Day. What is that?
What's that, you ask? Well, thanks for asking.
Is that francophone, anglophone stuff?
No, that's just using multiple words because we don't do enough. So the more words make up for the lack of action. Yeah, there's boom, shots fired at the Canadian federal government. I just wanted to say because I saw this on
because it's true.
It's sad because it's horrifying. Yeah. The last residential school was closed in 1998.
Oh, is this the Indigenous peoples schools?
Yeah, well, these are the schools that the Canadian government created to destroy, specifically designed to destroy Indigenous culture and heritage.
Yeah, we
so
had
they
the
would,
same thing.
yeah.
The America, I think America made the mold for you. I'll follow on that. We're very
well. Actually, what I've heard is that the Australian schools were modeled after Canadian schools, and actually, like most of the schools around in colonialism were modeled after the Canadian model. But they were around for a long time. A lot of them, there've been attempts and some successful to like search and find the remains of students that have been buried on school grounds in a lot of these places around the country. They were around for a long time, but they only closed. The last one closed in '98. It's like way more recently than we think. In relation. The TV sitcom Friends premiered in '94, so Friends was on its 4th season when they finally closed the last residential school. Just important for us to remember, it is Truth and Reconciliation Day, which means the very least that we can think about it and remember it at the best we can actually do something about it. And at the moment, role playing is not necessarily connected, but we're signal boosting. So I wanted to at least just mention that. But we are back doing our own version of escapism into the world of Legion. So we came back. I'm happy to go into happy to allow conversation. I'm happy to speed up the time frame a little bit. Basically, we have just around an hour of this session. After this, this is going to be our last hour with Eric. Then we're going to have a month off of this story, and then we're going to come back in November with Kevin the Fight Guy, who'll be joining us in... Big shout out to Kevin the Fight Guy, who'll be joining us in November for 4 sessions. So we have an hour to kind of set ourselves up if we want to do some things to answer questions, get ourselves set up and prepared for the next stage of our adventure. Happy to speed through time. I'm not gonna stretch out things if we're just kind of saying I want to get this done, we want to get this done, we want to get this done. We can kind of move quickly through some of that stuff. Let's use the queue in our private chat. So I'm going to start with Inpu, as you said first, and then you guys can use the chat to queue yourselves up.
So in all of this, I would like Inpu would like to have a small semi-private conversation with Rosemary.
Oh yeah.
He walks over to Rosemary and he's... I understand that you are essentially me, but not me, this thing, me, which means that you have been around for as long as I, me, Impu, I have been away, and I have seen that you have a mastery of magic and of understanding, and I have a favor to ask of you.
The single circle that is the observing reticle for Rosemary just kind of tightens a little bit and closes in on you.
I have sort of worked out that I am not long for here in control of this Legion, as they call it. And I have a great heaviness on my heart that I need help to rectify. Long ago, one of my spells was bastardized. And I don't know how, but the mortals were able to change a contract, forcing mortal souls to be forever indebted as slaves. That is what you see here with these constructs. If I may teach you this
What's going on here?
spell. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, am I speaking too loud?
Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Oh,
suddenly you muted yourself.
Sean just muted himself in the middle of what's going on.
Yeah, it's okay. My computer was doing something really stupid, and I was like, "What the hell?" So sorry.
Oh. No worries.
Before we decide,
Sorry. It's all good. If I may teach you the spell, and you try to figure out how to break it, how they manipulated it, and how we can set these souls free.
Yes. By providing me with the details of the spell, I can offer any insight that I might be able to glean.
I hate to have to extend their servitude, but perhaps wait until all of this, any kind of gestures to, referencing the darkness, the quest that everyone is doing, this place is very important and must be protected. And so perhaps once all is set and once all is right, then enact my will.
Rosemary reaches in with one of their arms and grabs a attachment port, pulls it out of their chest. It's linked to like a fiber optic cable, and hands it to you. Says, "With this, we may connect and therefore pass knowledge more efficiently."
Okay. They're gonna have to give me a little bit more than that. I don't know where it goes.
Yeah. With your permission, Rosemary reaches around, finds a port in Inpu, plugs it in. There's a flash as there's a connection between the two of your psyches. And you can feel Rosemary begin searching through your databanks. Now, I'm going to say you can roll an insight check to try to understand what is happening. You can do a wisdom. You can roll a wisdom save if you would like to sever this connection. You can choose to, or you can just kind of fail any resistance and allow Rosemary kind of complete access and try not to resist.
Oh, that's tough.
So you can do an insight to check what is happening. You can try to resist with a wisdom save, or you can do one or both of either of those.
I will do the insight. 11. Ooh. 11.
With an 11, yeah, 11 insight. Rosemary Leaf is probing through the banks in the construct. So Rosemary is going through like the memory banks, kind of conscious and unconscious, that this construct has.
Am I able to guide her to the information that I want to give her?
Certainly.
Yeah, so I wish to do so. I wish to guide her towards the spell, guide her towards anything that I know about the whole process of, leading up to that, right? Like me going, okay, like,
Cool.
Let me help you.
I mean, this is a mind link. So like this is Vulcan mind linking. So you can like fully relay the entire scene, like your memory of the entire event, as opposed to just like snippets, right? Like this can be a mind dump.
Yeah. I think definitely mind dumping anything that is related to the spell, to the soldiers, to the soul, solar auxilia of the solar knight sort of thing, and without realizing it, I want to say that Impu also gives up his last memories, like everything leading up to when he was like,
cool.
Everything went. So even
Amazing.
that scene of him confronting and going, no, you've done enough.
Okay.
This has gone too far, and then.
Awesome. You feel these memories as they come up and pass through your consciousness as they're. So as you're reliving them, you can sense that Rosemary is also accessing them at the same time, and able to get not only just the memory of it, but also your own insight and thoughts and recollections, and then the collection of thoughts after the event, however many there have been. After that is completed, Rosemary reaches out, pulls, disconnects you physically. The little port retracts back into Rosemary's form, and Rosemary looks at you and says, "Thank you for sharing such information. I will keep it guarded. Would you like a preliminary analysis?"
No.
Cool. Elric. Love that. Eric, you're going to chat with Harold, and then Harold wants to chat with Inpu.
So Elric goes to Harold after his big speech and says, "What is the strategy about getting the reinforcements? Why?"
Ethereal Dread has no strategic tactic. Just a beach. This is... The enemy takes this position. Win. They can turn on the forge. They can use the forge.
How does the enemy not know that this place exists? If they would know, wouldn't they have already turned this thing on? It feels like we're working with free time right now. For the first time, we are working with an advantage of time. I'm not saying that that's true. It's just that's what it feels like. If this has been here and this arcane force is so powerful, why haven't they come here to try to figure this out?
They don't know yet.
Right. So you're saying our bad luck will just hold and they will discover it on our way to the forge. If we move out without the reinforcements to stay here and guard it.
I guess what I'm saying is that can't take the risk. All our forces can be stationed. What's up,
Arlie's going to
Harley?
interrupt unless she gets some serious body language telling her not to.
No, interrupt. Come on in. You're part
You know,
of the. We're all.
Harold just said, "What's up, Harley?"
Yeah. I mean, I think I just started with Harold because Harold was just like, and this and the other things and this and this stuff, and then Impu and the other bot go over yonder, and I'm like, so look.
All right, so what the hell's happening
Yeah,
here?
what's the plan? Yeah, Arlie, you're definitely in this combo. I just wanted to, yeah.
I picture that Arlie like, just has this capacity for like creeping into. If like Aelric is standing in a social circle, she's just able to like creep on up, kind of like under his elbow, like whether or not he notices or not. Like, and like she never gets smoked in the face because she is short enough not to. But sometimes it just means that she stands there like waiting for her to before anyone's noticed. But Harold's also her height.
Yeah.
And I forget what TV show or movie it's from, but I remember like it's like this sound. It reminds me of something where the person's just like, the person's like, oh, God, you need to put a bell on you or something, right? Like just one of those like.
Right? It's Dwight reacting to Angela because
That's
Angela,
what it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's Angela just being tiny and creeping up. Dwight using exactly the intimacy that they share, but that where he's like not aware because his whole thing is not being aware of intimacy. Yes. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, perfect. So, yeah, she was just like, right, I can't figure out the actual plan, and I really would like to know, are we, like, I forgot her accent, she's turned Irish, West Country, but she's posh, RP, it's gone.
It's
Go to
fine.
theater
It's
school
fine.
in the fancy way
It
that you all
shifts.
did. Okay,
It shifts.
kidding.
Accents evolve.
Oh, what? What is the actual plan, though? Is the forge? I have this. Zivlin gave me this book of absolute riddles. It's better off as a Sudoku crossword puzzle than trying to figure out what it is that we are supposed to do. I've lost Library Cat, and presumably he was a guide, but I suppose he's guiding a mouse now, and that's an entirely different. The point is, we have been given so many gifts by the gods to bring Legion to the forge, and for what? Are we on the same page?
The cat is right here.
Oh my god!
There are many sneaky places in this room where very exciting to explore. Squeaknar's not a part of this conversation. She's just letting you know he's still around.
Welcome back. Oh, goodbye. Yes, right. So, our familiars are near. Fantastic. But still, we plan, as far as I can tell, we anticipate intercepting our enemies there who hope to release Takesis from her soul crystal? Eternity crystal. From her eternity crystal. We don't know exactly what facet of Legion we will be working with at the time that we get there, so that's a fun thing to not know. But what we plan to stop them from releasing Takesis, and then what? We then what? In the best case of all worlds, we take the Eternity Crystals away from our enemies who are currently running a dragon siege across Kryn, devastating various places that we've been out of touch with because we've been in between worlds. And presumably we were meant to help the people of Kryn, but Thad can take care of that now, I guess. He's got a handbook, he'll be fine. And
I gave him my notes.
I gave him my notes on what to do and what not to do, and the baseline is kind of do neither. It'll stall proceedings for a long time if he follows them. It'll be fantastic. But what I mean, are we to unmake Legion? Unmake Legion. Also, I guess throw Rosemary in. Just so there can't be a second. Are we to unmake him and release the gods, or are we to restore Takesis' Eternity Crystal to Legion and then unmake Legion? Is unmake or status quo? Why is Zivelin free? Is there not a Zivelin Eternity Crystal? I don't understand. Eric, what do you hope for when we get to the Forge?
I hope that we can keep Takesis from being in this realm. That's the only concern I really have. Just because for all the gods that all of you have talked to, and all the gods that have visited us through this construct, there's not been one that has been as tangibly close as Takesis, which is unfortunate because it is part of my history.
Right,
So,
like, isn't she your queen or something? I'm sorry, I didn't read the books about Takesis. It would have been smart if I did, but it's like
No.
one thing I didn't read about.
no, my clan chose another path.
That great, because it would be very complicated if you'd sort of sworn some kind of worshipping
No.
culty fealty.
No.
Oh.
My lineage chose a different path, and it has cost them and me.
You're the only one left. It's quite
I'm
a
the only
high
one left.
cost that you've paid, I assume.
But your question is salient in the sense that this Rosemary has just said that this construct that we've been walking with for all of these weeks and months is out of balance. I don't know now if we are meant to place this stone back in and that becomes the prison, or we are meant to destroy the whole apparatus. These questions are so large. I'm not used to these types of considerations. I've been relying on you and Thad and Harold and their insight into this mammalian world and these kind of interconnected questions about where we sit, we being living people, against what the gods have put down before us. These are none of these things.
Rosemary comes up as you're speaking, Aelric, and kind of clumps next to and joining this council. Your invocation of fate, I find confusing. Your ancestors, if I am correctly understanding the amount of time that has passed since I was last active, your ancestors created this Legion prison in many ways to eradicate fate. Therefore, there is no action that you must take.
Oh my god.
By harnessing the deities, you have actualized your dreams of free will.
No, but this is I should not be in the position that I am in. I am an absolute, I mean, Elric, I'm sorry. I know that you look towards me and you think that I know anything, but I got temporary after partying really hard for a long time, and I don't know what I am loving my freedom, and I am loving the fact that I've become bizarrely important, but this is there's only so much bureaucratic stalling that one can do when faced with the fate of the world, and eventually there apparently will be consequences, which I'm very uncomfortable with. So I don't. It feels like this very uncomfortable position in which we are to play God to the gods, which I don't love. Or we're to restore balance, but we're restore balance by making Legion whole, but the balance was already ruined 300 years ago by making Legion whole and giving all of us a fateless, freewheeling kind of mundane, hard existence. If you don't happen to be born into the Candlewick family, it's about there. So, without the gods' interventions, and without the gods' healings, and without the gods' presence in the, I mean, there's much less warring and much less using of mortals for feuds and sort of erroneous things. But I'm completely. I feel as though we are walking into a situation in which we will possibly unmake the world, and I don't feel that we are united in our understanding of what we even hope to achieve. Harold, what do you perceive as an ideal outcome of heading to the Forge?
Rosemary.
Yes.
How long have you been holding? What is the last moment you wrapped yourself? Slowed down time to say what I presume are con.
I arrived at this Aetherflux dynamo almost 100 years after the Cataclysm, the end of the Celestial War. This is my memories of the Cataclysm are pre-sentient. They exist, but merely records.
Was it worth it?
You almost hear the chunking of like a dot matrix printer as this creature, Rosemary, processes the question. I believe one of the objectives of the Celestial War was to minimize undue suffering on mortal beings. That suffering did not cease. I can say that the current discussion and dilemma you are facing is reminiscent of those had before the Cataclysm and after the Cataclysm by your ancestors. There are two likely outcomes, if I am fully understanding the situation. One of which is Takesis is able to free herself. She will not allow the other gods to challenge her, and will do what she can to keep them within the Legion prison. This would be unideal for mortal life. It might be difficult to contain her back into the Legion construct, but feasible. A third option would be to release all of them, though I believe this would put many of the lives lost in vain.
I would also offer just one thing. before we all came together, we were all on separate paths. Harold, your quest, the strongest of all of ours, I believe. Inevitably, we can't get on those individual paths again until this is overcome. So whether we release the gods into the world, whether we find balance, whether we destroy all the gods, we can't get back to the original reason we were moving through the world.
We were headed to a funeral.
I was not.
Oh, right. Sorry. I dragged you to a funeral. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I may be misremembering. It's been a long time. Sean, you're muted.
If we cannot destroy Takesis, if we cannot contain Takesis, we must release all the other gods for balance. A buttress. I don't know that there is another power that would be able to stand against her.
Okay, so if I were to make kind of a flow chart situation, if it looks like Takesis is getting out, then we let them all out. If it looks like Takesis is staying in, then we weave her back into the fabric of Legion. And then we figure out what to do from there, which is either push Legion into the Force, releasing all of them anyway, or status quo, no gods, free will, miserable human lives, but overall god freedom. Okay. I just need to know. I just need to know that we're on the same page. That with potentials.
Harold, does that sound correct?
If Takesis is released, it would force our hand. Yes.
And then we can each individually feel some kind of a way about option A of the flowchart or option B. But either way, we are either preserving the fabric of the current known universe, or we are reverting to the. I forget what was the 300 in my head. It's the cataclysm.
Pre-cataclysm times, I guess.
It is called cataclysm.
Yeah, pre-cataclysm.
Perhaps we remake and undo the cataclysm, which, repercussions be damned. It worked out fine last time, didn't it? It would be really cool to be Arlie Candlewick III single-handedly brought back chaos and destruction. Oh, I don't mind it. I don't love it, but I don't mind it. So I think it would make a really nice tapestry. Anyway, that's not really here or there. So we have the forge on the map. We have. I was looking at the Twitch chat. We have the forge on the map. We have. Yeah, I have to stop looking at the jokes. Stop.
Darn you, funny chat. Darn you. Rosemary says, yes, there were many ages of thousands of millennia that mortals and gods existed. This is potentially another short age that may return to...
What changed, Rosemary?
My records are blank. They are cold. But I did know many who survived and lived before the war. They felt powerless against great persuasions, motivations by the gods out of emotion. Some called it petty. The implications were grand. Entire peoples destroyed, alliances ruined, families wiped from existence. The mortals decided they no longer wanted to be controlled, coerced, puppeted by the gods. Has there been peace as was predicted?
No.
Really? Have you seen the amount of dragons?
Look. And he points to
Not
the...
at this one, not the other ones.
Elric points to the 4 constructs that are still standing vigil over us. Look.
Yes, I recognize these.
Machines
These were
of
created
war.
during the war. These were created during the war.
If there was no more war, if there was peace, then these still wouldn't exist. Look at the scars on all of us.
Not
And
unpredicted.
if you are able, Erwin just turns to Harold and he says, "This is beginning to feel like politics. This being's thoughts are too straight, too dry, intangible, no feeling, no passion, no heart."
I love politics, and actually, this does feel way too much like politics for my liking. I think that ultimately what Rosemary or what Legion or Inpu or I don't think it matters as much as what it is that we decide that we're going to. I mean, it's this terrible position to be thrown into. It's very bizarre. We were headed to a funeral, and I've forgotten where you were going.
I mean, Elric was invited. Elric was invited because he knew him. Like, Elric was definitely one of the people invited.
Sorry, I don't know why I said he wasn't. But I don't think that what they're saying really matters as long as we're on the same page, and that we set our course for the Forge. Yes, and we will send that message. Did someone want to send a message to Bubo at some point?
Still hasn't happened.
We were hoping that you would 3 days ago, but we haven't had the opportunity.
Right, I can now. I just thought it was relevant.
Or I tell you,
this building was falling down.
Truly, I don't know what I will do.
Okay, great. So we will not be a united front going in with different. That's fine. The mystery will reveal itself, I suppose, as we are there. Great.
And I think that anyone who knows, thinking about it hard enough, themselves into thinking that this is an easy decision. You know me. You know how authority chafes at me. You know how I hate government. You must be able to have a sense of how much I would despise the idea of a class of being elevated above me, not because of some royal seal, but because it's a literal god. Yeah. Here we live in this diminished, shattered world. And if the people that thought this was a good idea end war, well, they were clearly a pack of idiots. I will tell you when I know. But I don't know.
Harold. Oh, chime in, Impu.
You can finish what you were going to say, Elric, and then yeah.
It's just probably going to cause more discussion, so you should probably jump in. I'll have a quick question for Harold, but go.
Fair enough. Impu, I mean, obviously his dealings with Rosemary is done, and now Rosemary has joined the conversation, so he's sort of followed suit and has just been sitting quietly this whole time. just kind of like steps forward and, if I may,
Might as well.
the choice was not an easy one. When the mortals chose that some of the gods were too troublesome, that they must be stopped. Some of us, I including, stood behind them. We were not all petty. Well, not always. And we were not all troublesome and needed worship. And so we agreed that some of the gods needed to be removed. But my knowledge of what happened after is cut short. For when my last memories are of confronting the coalition leaders when they claimed to have killed gods. That is when they showed me a further creative manipulation of my spell. And that is when they showed me for the first time one of these. And he points at, one of the gems on his arms. I was angry. And I tried to stop them. And that is when, apparently, I was captured. It appears they may have changed their minds. The leaders of the coalition, that is. Which, quite frankly, I am not surprised after what they did with my help and my knowledge. But it appears they chose to capture all of the gods. I would just like to say and point out that not all of us wished mortal kind harm. Some of us were actually coming to elevate you in our status as equals. In your own right. Do with that information as you will. And he walks away.
Harold, what would you feel about leaving these 4 constructs? Sending Rosemary to get the reinforcements, and for us to forge ahead. They've already been tasked with holding this place.
Mary is an asset. Sister.
A greater
A
asset.
day's journey.
So we should all go.
Trust your judgment.
No,
I need to
that's.
talk to you.
You need to talk to Impu? Okay.
follow Impu.
You guys gonna have a little sidebar?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's not far. He just basically walked to, back to the big glowing
Yeah,
blue thing
I think
that you had in the picture.
Rosemary, Aelric, and Arlie are basically like discussing like just like kind of laying out the cards of feasible things. Like this is so in the background you kind of and we can catch up later with this, but like after their discussion, you'll all know each other's capabilities in terms of like what can we do, who can do what, how can we communicate, all that sort of stuff. So you can chat in the background while they're talking, or we can just like metagame that knowledge after this conversation. Go for it, guys.
You meet up with Impu. He is just standing in front of the big blue, purpley blue glowing thing that is just swirling with energy, and he's just staring at it.
For we decided against domain.
I'm sorry, Keen, one more time. I only caught half of that.
Domain. What was your job?
I was the shepherd of souls. I weighed one's heart and made the decision whether they could pass or had to make up. Had to. What's the word I'm looking for? I forgot the word.
Atone.
Atone. Yes, thank you. That's the word.
What happens? Souls without a shepherd. Guide them.
When I was around, they would eventually find me or one of my, let's just say, cousins. But now that we are not here, if one still had purpose after death, they could stay until either their purpose was done or they just simply lost the will. There is also the dark, nefarious, and tragic side, where there are times where the soul simply ends without having, lack of better word, peace. And then there are creatures which feed. That was part of our shepherding, was to protect them. Why do you ask?
What happens now that you're...
Souls will those that don't have a purpose, or who are not strong-willed to stay around, will simply walk aimlessly until one of another outcome. But it appears that at the moment they are all drawn to this shadow, and I don't know why. Or at least that is, I don't remember why. My memory seems to be failing me.
So with the gods tucked away, after we die, we just wander until we cease to be or Art Legion?
With none of us shepherding and protecting and guiding you to a peaceful place. The answer simply is yes.
How long does that take?
Well, it boils down to one's will of being. As I mentioned, those who have a strong will to stay, they have a connection with the mortal realm, and stay for as long as they will it to be so. But if they falter and lose hope, then their connection to staying will be lost, and essentially they will be untethered, and they will just begin to walk aimlessly until they are gone. She's quite beautiful, by the way. The one who is tethered to you.
He's still here.
She is.
Is there another?
Tethered to you. No. I have not seen another.
Thank you.
Who is the other?
Son. He... Knights of Calamand go and play a soldier. Got us back a medal. This was 20 years ago now.
Did he take the oath
What oath?
Did he say the words of the Islamic Knights?
Woke up one morning, found no. Star wishes he'd gone and done. But boys of his age, if terribly stupid, it's the better judgment of their parents. I don't know.
Find out if he did. Because if he has spoken the words of the oath, then I believe you and Rosemary have a unified goal. One that I have requested of her on my behalf. I'm sorry I could not be there for him.
You speak to her?
I can.
Tell her I'm sorry.
He knows. She knows.
Inpu, you see the large female orc kneel down beside Harold. And Harold, whether this just be emotions stirred up or something more, you feel Fiona close by.
May I attempt
Mm-hmm.
to allow him to see her? Like basically transfer the spell that I'm currently using to see?
I will say that you can, if you, by relinquishing control over the construct, you can forge a one-use artifact as a gift.
I will do so.
There's precedent.
Yeah. Explain how that looks.
It's canon.
Yeah.
As I see this happen, and I see Harold like, as you said, you know, he feels Fiona, Fiona's love and Fiona's closeness. I know he's not wearing a lot of clothes at the moment, so it's sort of a mishmash of things, but
Armor and robe.
Exactly, right? Is there like a necklace, or is there like a bracelet, or is there something of that nature? Um,
There's a book. There's a small book that he always
right,
has with him.
right. There's your book. Yeah. Um,
Can also take it from your own body, if you so choose.
oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair, fair, fair. Um, ooh, what if? Here's a
Hmm.
what if.
Hmm.
What if Fiona is wearing a necklace or a bracelet or something, and I take it, but I fashion it from Legion's body, but I quote unquote take it from her.
Yeah, explain. I mean, this is
Yeah.
you using some god magic here. So
Right, right,
explain
right, right,
explain
right,
what you
right,
want to
right.
do.
Um,
Check the chat,
I think
the Discord chat. You want to go with something else? Go with something else.
uh,
Oof.
yeah,
That's a
yeah, yeah,
choice.
yeah, 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 yeah. I look up and down, and see that Harold doesn't really have anything. And I look over at her, and when she looks up at me, I'm like, "May I?" Pointing at a necklace that she's wearing,
Hmm.
and I presume she would nod.
She,
Like
yeah,
I'm just kind of like playing with the story. She
for sure.
nods,
Yeah, yeah.
and I reach out, and the action of reaching out and taking it off of her neck, Legion's
Materializes it.
material, yeah, Legion's material sort of like intertwines, and so like if we're looking at this like a movie, as he removes it from her neck, Legion's sort of forming it
Hmm.
himself,
Hmm.
and then turns to Harold, and it's a one-time. Where'd you say it's a one-time use ability to be able to see?
Into the plane of the dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I show Harold, and it is a necklace that she would have been wearing when she passed away. It was the last thing she was essentially wearing. Um, uh, a gift.
As Legion takes
It-
it off and it materializes in his hands, starting from the feet of the construct, they start to revert back to that neutral form that you've seen before. And it starts spreading up, almost like a shadow crossing. But this is the god of death, so it's more like light coming across a shadow. And as this light crosses, the neutral construct below starts to appear from the feet upwards as Inpu starts to diminish.
and physically diminished because he was much taller
Hmm.
than, yeah. Um, this will allow you to see what I see one more time. And then, as by this point, the head and it's all going down the arms,
Yeah, yeah.
and then by the time he's done saying that, it's now just basic Legion, just holding in one hand.
Take the necklace and I put it in my pocket. Harold takes a minute, wipes the sooty tears out of his eyes. Guys, who's gone?
Did you say who's coming? I missed the word.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
said
hear it.
Impu's gone.
Impu's
Impu's
gone.
gone.
He said Impu's gone. Amazing. What we are going to... we have 5 more minutes, so I want to hear from Arlie and Aelric what decisions were made, and these are things that will basically happen for the beginning of our next session. So in the terms of like, we want to get here, we want them to be here, we want to, whatever our kind of starting position that you want to adopt, that you've decided, let us know, and that'll be something that we skip forward ahead to narratively when we come back in a month.
Great. I think quickly then we will go get some of the reinforcements, get the Rangers, the Gut Rippers, Heavy Cav, leave the Light Cav, and the Elves there, but we will also bring the Gnome Engineers that are on the ship so they can man this gnomish city, and maybe they can find some sort of better insight to whether or not we can turn this thing on or off or on and off or whatever the hell the combination is. And we will also insist on, I don't know what this thing is going to actually called, but bring a foobar with us, or whatever the stupid backpack is called.
The Fargab. Fargab.
The Fargab. Bring the Fargab with us so we can head towards the Forge, and then if we can scoop all those people up, leave the other people on the shoreline. That's not much, but that's enough to hold at least, I think that's 50 people that we still leave plus the elves. And then bring the rest of them back, and then set up an established base here.
Cool.
And leave the constructs here, and then task the gnomes with restoring and fixing and reinvigorating this thing to a way that we have a better control over it, so it doesn't blow up everything. And then we'll start marching towards the death circle.
Amazing. So you're gonna get in contact with the Ethereal Dread and your reinforcements. You'll create a beachhead, have most of the troops show up, and create like a forward operating base at this arcane reactor to defend it. Bring in the gnomes there so that you can hopefully operate it at whatever capacity it has, and leave a little bit of forces with the landing party at the beachhead to be there to defend the beachhead if need be, or to act as reinforcements if they need to be called. That's kind of like the gist.
That's my offer to the party.
Totally cool. And that just means that we'll be starting next session at the beginning of November from that place. It'll probably take a day or two in game for like all this to happen, and then we'll be moving forward after having had a long rest. And like all established into our next journeying out at the beginning of our next session into our final mission, I guess, ideally, potentially. Who knows? Thank you and you and you and you and everyone in my screen, but also thank you everyone in my chat. This was awesome. Even when you did stuff that was so funny Claire couldn't roleplay. Shame on you, chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for a touching, awesome little moment, Keen and Eric.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's always lovely to honor our characters' backstories and ongoing personal journeys that everyone has. Excited for Kevin, the fight guy, to join us next month in November. October, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, is going to be we're going to go dark. We're going dark. Mondays, dark days in theater. So we're honoring the theater. We're dark on Mondays. We are going to replay the games that we have coming up, which will be Wednesdays starting next week, that Eric will be leading, and with a few players. And we're going to be... A lot of the stuff we talked about today, we'll be going back to that very same era, the beginning of the Celestial War. Who were the people that fought this war? Why were they fighting? Who were the good guys? Who were the bad guys? We can know in the right time because we'll be playing that game in the moment. It won't be in the past anymore. So very exciting to do that. Very excited awesome to have Eric come and play. You're always welcome back, Eric. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Michael. So much fun. I hope everyone enjoys a good few weeks off. We've been playing, with the exception of a couple weeks here and there, for 2 years without much of a break. So this is going to be a huge summer vacation for all of us, a Spooktober vacation. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to do this without you, because you guys are Legion. So come join us again in November. And without further ado,
Thank
ciao.
you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Thank you, chat. Thank
Bye
you,
until
Twitch.
next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, Eric's going to do it. And then we'll be popping up the replay on Monday. Ciao.
Bye.